This is a video review that is long overdue. The new ARC 170 Starfighter set number 75402 has 497 pieces, about 100 pieces more than the previous 2010 model. 4 minifigures in this set. Now, I didn't have the 2010 model, but as I've spoken about at length on the channel before, I've had all of the 2005 LEGO Star Wars Revenge of the Sith sets when I was just a wee lad. I absolutely loved it then, and I do like this set. There is some good and some bad with this set. We're going to take a look at both over the next few minutes, and as per the norm, we're going to have the time lapse of the build on the left hand side of the screen and the minifigures on the right, starting with that R4P44 droid and no back printing, which is a minus on this set. Next up is Oddball, and he can only be differentiated from the other two clones by his black stripe on his helmet. The other two are identical in almost every sense. They have the same torso and legs, the same face print, no dual molded headpiece, but the same print all over. The clone pilot has the red striped helmet, Oddball has the black striped helmet, and as you'll see in a moment's time, the pilot Jag has a blue striped helmet. Pretty pleased with all three of these clones, no glaring errors that I can see, and very pleased to have my hands on these particular figures. I think they look pretty good, and of course, as their pilots, no helmet holes as well, so pretty good all round. I do understand the argument that if there was the opportunity to army build, it would be better to have a set that just has 3 clone pilots in, but for somebody like myself who will only be buying one of these sets and would like to get my hands on these figures, 2 named figures from Revenge of the Sith, I think is a pretty good lineup, and they look pretty good lined up there. Let's pop them inside of the build though and have a little look at the ARC 170 now it is complete. And I'm going to start, unusually for me, with some of the negatives, which is, one is a personal preference, which is the missile. I don't like missiles anyway, but the fact that it hangs out of the back just doesn't look good. There's also an inaccuracy that I can see with the sort of cannon on the front, which is that it shouldn't really be a brown piece on the front. It should just be a black. I'm not entirely sure why it isn't a black. It couldn't have been expensive or a difficult decision to make. Maybe I'm being critical, but I do think it should have been black previously, like the previous models. There's only a couple of stickers in this set, which is a nice relief. The only difficulty with it is that they are sticker prints on the cockpit. Why couldn't we have potentially got a printed piece on the cockpit? I don't think it's too much to ask for, and I haven't yet to review the Ahsoka Jedi Starfighter, but I am concerned that that is also a sticker. Could we not have got these as printed pieces? The smaller pieces, as you go around the build, are split between sticker prints, which you can see next to the cockpit there, and at the very end of the wing you can see a printed tile, which looks really nice, and you've got some stickers on the wings there as well. All in all, I am pleased with it. I know I've just had a little rant about a couple of things I didn't like about it. I would have preferred it to be printed in some areas, but I do think it looks pretty good. Let's take a little look at it from the back, which is arguably not a particularly flattering angle of the ship. And if we crack open the cockpit as well, you'll be able to, or all three of the cockpits, you'll be able to see a little bit inside. Now, a mini gripe with this, which is the case with a lot of player scale sets, which is that the figures don't naturally sit in this set. They all kind of have to be on an angle, but you can't see a printed tile in the middle there. Reminds me of very old Lego sets from the early 2000s where you get a slope piece that had been printed on. You get your usual printed cockpit piece in the very front of the ARC 170, and you can see as I've put the pilot back in with the R4 Astromech that you can fit them in, and the clone pilot who I've elected to place at the back kind of undermines my point because he does sit at a 90-degree angle, but Oddball and Jag, who I've got at the very front, are on a diagonal. It's just one of the gripes and sort of one of the pitfalls of a player scale set. It doesn't really matter if you display your figures next to the Starfighter, and on the very back there you've got a sort of little clip Technic piece, which I will show you better from this angle. You can push this in and you can sort of push it back from the other side, as it were. It's a good way to hold it, but I will demonstrate for you now with a bit of audio what it does, and it does allow you to clip the wings open. A really nice touch. I was curious to see how they would sort of make the wings work on this particular set. Things have obviously moved on quite a bit since 2010, and we do have a couple more options now to activate those wings through Technic pieces. I do really like this set. I know I've had a couple of uncharacteristic whinges at the very start of the video about it, but I was really excited to get my hands on this. It's very nostalgic for me in terms of that 2005 Revenge of the Sith set. What would make it better? It's something I've already sort of spoke about before Christmas and in the new year about, and it's that box art with Plo Koon's Starfighter on. It would be perfect if we were getting a Plo Koon Starfighter this year to go with that. I put the Obi-Wan Starfighter next to it just to sort of emphasize my point. These would pair up really nicely together. It's a shame we're not getting one. Hopefully we will get one again in the future. I think it would make a really nice pairing, but it's a shame it won't be for the Revenge of the Sith anniversary. Overall, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not perfect. It holds a lot of nostalgia, and that might be getting a couple of the points out of 10 for me. I think somebody who was a little bit more open-minded, who'd never had this set before, might score it slightly lower. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched until this point, it's sincerely appreciated. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure you stay tuned, because we've got tons of LEGO Star Wars stuff coming, not only in the next couple of weeks, but throughout 2025.